First of all, I would like to thank you guys, especially the team who have been working at the back end to make this happen. I really want to say thank you. You guys didn't receive a penny to do this, and you have given everything, to make this happen. So first of all, I want to say thank you. Regarding the GSS 2020, which I used to call the first of its kind, I would say it started off as just a simple thought in May 2020 when I had the conversation with Dr. Casey, and then a few months after it's become this. So what exactly is this summit about? You'll notice that before now we've had very large summits on career talks, career tips, even on business, on data analytics, on business analytics, even on study abroad or the Jackpot people, Canada. We've had all kinds of summits, but we've not really had one focused on scholarships and pre-scholarship and post-scholarship thinking, I would say. So this is the first of its kind that you are going to have. And now, because myself and Casey, we don't want to sit on our high horses and feel like we know everything, we decided to bring in very fantastic people as well to cover up gaps that we know we lack because we don't know everything. So this is a summit that comprises 10 fantastic personalities. If you doubt me, just check them out on LinkedIn, and I'm sure that you'll be blown away. So these are guys that are tested and trusted in the public space. And so each of them have been given specific topics that align with what they do and is relevant to the theme of the summit. So it was strategic. This is not something that was just thought of over the head in seconds. It took a long time to plan this. And so I can assure you that if you attend this, you will be blessed. It's free. The only thing that is not free is the data that you burn, but consider it as, as investment. 5 days, afternoon and evening session, 1 hour each. And I can tell you, try to attend each person's talk. Don't look at, I know what may happen. You look at the group of people, there are certain people that you hold in high esteem, then you feel that, let me attend those ones. Then you ignore the others. I don't want you to fall victim to that kind of thinking. I want you to understand that all 10 of them are speaking on different things. So there is no way you're going to waste your time with any of them. Try as much as you can to, some of you are students and ASU is still on strike, so I expect you to still be at home anyway. So I think you should spend this time to just, take out time to sit down and listen to these guys. And I can assure you that it will be a life-changing event in the end. Don't let me spend all the time talking. I think Dr. Casey will come in here now.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. This is amazing. This is the first of its kind in the world, Global Scholarship Summit 2020. Dr. Casey, I know you are itching to say something. I'm opening the mic for you now, Doc. Please, what do you have to tell us about Global Scholarship Summit? What is the motivation you have to make this a reality? What is the goal? What are we expecting from the aftermath of Global Scholarship Summit 2020?
Yeah, Chubuzo, thank you very much. I think my very good friend and brother has really covered a lot. It's quite difficult to even add anything. So because I've been given the floor, I guess I have to at least chip in 1 or 2 things. So really this started as a brainstorming session that I had with Babjide, and we're really looking at bringing together people that are doing and making exploit in various fields and bring them together into one summit that pushes beyond just the aspect of scholarship. In fact, at the heart of this and the basis of the motivation was really the question that we asked, like, what motivates students? Why should they even study? what should be the expectation of a student that is trying to or striving to graduate as the best from their class? What is the benefit? And so we started looking a lot about other people that are doing very well, and we saw that at the basis of it is scholarship. The same for Babjide, he's two-time Commonwealth scholar, and the same for me. So we saw that the scholarship was itself like an opening door for us to develop ourselves. But there is something more than just the scholarship, right? It's first of all an incentive for you to develop yourself. But we saw that it's even more an incentive for you to contribute to the growth of the society. And that's why you see this really captured in the theme of the summit. So for us, what of our expectation is that we bring all these people that are doing great works in various aspects of life and connect them to students, both undergraduate, graduate students, and help them to find clarity and also find motivation and look beyond their background. Like you can imagine being in the house now for months for those that are in Nigeria because ASU is on strike. So how do you use that time and look beyond all the, I would say, all the hindrance that seems to stand on your way and still strive for academic excellence? Because at the end of the day, you can see how you would grow, right? Because the scholarship gives you that door. But as my friend said earlier, beyond the scholarship, what happens, right? So that is why we have also brought people that have gone through this route and all the way now either to the industry or to academia, and how they are helping to connect from their background to the pathway that they have taken to be where they are at the moment. So we hope that the participants of this summit, the first of its kind, really the very first of its kind, would be given the opportunity to define their pathway and also get direction. You know, for me, I'm a big fan of direction over speed, right? So not to feel that anyone is late, but that you can help to connect and start helping to find how to connect the different dots and navigate yourself towards global prominence.
Wow, thank you so much for that introduction, Doc. That's really amazing. Okay, guys, we're going to be taking 10 questions because it's an Ask Me Anything section. So if you have a question, let's make it very, very snappy. Please raise your hand. Raise your hand. Wow. Raise your hand if you have a question. I would unmute you so that you can ask your question, okay? But before we do that, I want to come back to you. We have handpicked several amazing speakers. These are people who had gone far in their career through scholarships. They've reached a certain heights that we can say that these people are trustworthy and they are people that we can follow through their paths. What is the reason for specifically choosing these people to be the ones to head start or kickstart this particular summit?
I think Babjide, you can go first.
Oh, sorry, is that for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I didn't get the question properly.
Okay,
sorry, can you go over it again?
All right, the question is, what is the reason for choosing this set of people to kickstart this summit?
Okay.
What do you see? Yes.
Okay. Okay, so just as Dr. Casey has said, we wanted a different approach to the way this summit is going to be. And we didn't just want to focus only on scholarship. We wanted to also look at development impact after the award. And so as a result, we had to specifically choose this group of people because one, on LinkedIn, we've watched them. We saw that they had a track record of excellence. Many of them have won scholarships in the past. They are authorities, you know, in their fields. And so we looked at the different aspects that, let me give an example. For example, Tiamiyu Ahmed, you know, is a postdoc at MIT. And his story is one that is extremely inspiring. when you consider where he came from, and then poof, suddenly he's gone to MIT, one of the best schools in the world. So the question will be, how did he do it? The how. And I'm sure that the story behind the glory is where all the answers lie. And he needs to come and share his story. And then when he shares that story, he will tell you the lessons that he learned and the steps he took. And this will definitely help someone out there who was at the same stage that he was some years ago, or who is at the same stage that he was some years ago. And so we hand chose these people because they have, you know, a record that showed something like a story of grass to grace, which is your everyday story in Nigeria, which actually explains why someone like, what's his name again? This BBN guy that they voted for, that won. He didn't have anything. He didn't look like the guy that would win. He didn't have the body build, even the muscles, but they supported him because he's talented and he looked like he would need the money more. And they voted for him. Historic vote, and he won the BBN for this year. Something like that. We always like that grass to grace story. Most of us here have that story. So we are very typical candidates to speak on issues of this kind because you guys will be able to relate easily. That's one. Two, each of them are handling different aspects. Some will be looking at pre-scholarship, some will be looking at during the scholarship, some will be looking at what tips to attract the scholarship, some will be looking at post-scholarship issues, impact, and so on. Everything around scholarships and academic excellence, including impact as well, real developmental impact. And that's why we chose these people. Yes, we wanted, I must say that two people were omitted eventually because they couldn't come on board. But eventually we found excellent replacements for them. But I can assure you that all 10 of them, fantastic. And we trust that the content they will deliver will definitely be life-changing. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Dr. Casey, do you have something to say? Wow, this is really amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, it really just boils down to looking at people, because if you remember, I've always talked about points of differentiation, right? Our experience being our unique proposition and our unique points of differentiation. So each of these people have their unique stories. And if you look at where they are at the moment and you begin to wonder how they got to such height, it always appears, especially when you just look at their profile, that this is a straight line. So it's good for them to come and share how they had to go through all the struggles similar to what you are going through today, and how they were able to overcome these struggles, and how they were able to build the resilience and the persistence and the ruggedness that is needed for them to hold on to the very end. So it's important for people to always know that, yes, behind the glory that they see today, there is actually a story. And each of these people bring together unique experiences that we feel are something that we can relate with, especially as undergraduates, as graduate students, as people struggling to find a job, or in different aspects, or people that are really thinking if they have made a mistake to even go to the university in the first place, if they had made a better option, if they had just invested their school fees to learn something else. So it's important for us to re-emphasize the importance of academic, right, excellence as a bedrock for developing a sustainable society. And so it was quite, I would say, more or less straightforward to pick this group of speakers.
Wow, thank you so much, Doc. There's something that really caught my attention. People that had track records. So there's a saying that a principle is a thing that delivers similar or same result no matter who uses it. So these people, they have followed this particular principle that they're going to be teaching us on the Global Leadership Summit. And of course, when we hear their story, follow their principles, we will get similar or same results as they have gotten. Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you so much, Babjide. There is another question from Joseph Akman. He said he has two questions, so I'm going to be asking two of them simultaneously. Number one is, what are the disadvantages and advantages of pure research masters without coursework? And then secondly, he said, please, what would you advise someone out of school for 3 years working as an industry professional in his or her undergraduate background and who is interested in a pure research master's without coursework?
Maybe you could help by breaking down the question so that it's easier.
Okay, you take that.
Okay, I'll take it one after the other. The first question is, what are the disadvantages and advantages of pure research masters without coursework?
Okay, let me just handle that one.
Yeah.
Now, there are two MSCs. So you have the research MSc or research or masters by research, as they used to say. And we also have the taught MSc. Well, what it simply means is that for the masters by research, which is usually 2 years, you are going to do coursework and a large component that is research-based. Then for the other one that is taught MSc is basically coursework. However, there is also a short, because some of you do not think that they carry out research, but they do. It's just short, usually say 3 months of research, but it's so short, so they do not really consider it as enough time to carry out good research, because you need at least 6 months minimum to carry out proper research. So for the third one, there is a 3 months research component where you need to submit a dissertation. So I understand that for the third masters, which is a year course, when you are about to go for PhD, certain schools will look at the fact that you don't have enough research experience, and that may be a disadvantage. I had that problem for a while because I did taught MSc at my master's. I got the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, so I went to the UK for my master's. 1 year taught MSc. And I remember that I applied for the Hong Kong PhD professional scheme to City University Hong Kong. And I remember that Professor Chen, one supervisor that loved me so much, we were even Skyping at some point. He sent me a message, and it was a disappointment at some point that the committee that was to look at, or should I say the selection committee that was to pick the final candidates for PhD, they decided not to pick me. Not because I wasn't good enough, not because I didn't have a very good profile or CV. At least I had the first class, my master's was distinction, I even had an award. But they were concerned about my research component. The experience was so little. And at that time, I was just publishing components of my MSc work. So I didn't even really have a publication. So it didn't work in my favor. I lost it. But I didn't stop. I didn't let it affect me. I kept applying until I won the Commonwealth again. So, and this time around, when I won it again, it didn't stop them from picking me. So what I'll just say is, yes, it might make some schools look at the fact that the research component is little, but if you don't stop, if you keep going, eventually you will be selected. I know of many people who taught MSc, did the Commonwealth Shared, and from the UK, they just ported straight to the US for PhD, direct. They didn't even branch in Nigeria, direct porting from UK to US. And their supervisors or the committee that chose them did not think that there was a problem because of the taught MSc. So I really don't think that should be a problem. But if you have an opportunity to do a research master's, I would say do it, because it gives you better edge, obviously. So that's that for that question. I think the other half, I can let Casey handle that.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Doc. Dr. Casey, the second question is, what would you advise someone that has been out of the school for 3 years, working as an industry professional in his or her undergraduate background, and who is interested in a research master's without coursework?
I would say that, I mean, when the person talks about time out of university or like time out of the traditional school system, how is this related to the interest that the person has in the first place? Because I wouldn't consider this time to be very important, except it's a program that has time as a factor, which I don't normally see. I know that some scholarships could really specify about age, but this is rare, right? So the question more is really just tying down to what Babjide said. Like, if you are going to a taught master's or a research-based master's, the focus should also be about what you want to do with it, right? So if you are looking like wanting to do a PhD, then yes, a research-based master's kind of gives you already research experience, because your PhD in any case would be research-based. But perhaps if you are thinking about going to the industry after your master's, then maybe you are going to still be able to be fine if you do not have so much research experience that you might need for a PhD. So for this particular person, I would say that the number of years that you have been out of school, perhaps the only challenge there would be how you come back into the school system. And if it's someone that doesn't feel constrained, I mean, I've seen people that have been out after their first degree, they worked for like a couple of years, then came back to a master's. You might need to work more, right? Because you have been out of school for some time and you need to like think about it, like maybe you forgot already a lot of basic principles or basic knowledge that you had from your undergraduate. And in some cases, I always say that if you are applying, you need to always try to find the link between the gap that you are having. So if I'm in the selection committee and I have someone that on the CV, the last thing that had to do with something related to the program that they're applying for was 5 years ago, then I become worried, right? So it doesn't mean you need to have been in school, but also make sure that your CV or your personal statement has something within that gap year that ties to what you're applying for. It could be a job, but the job is also giving you an experience that is relevant to the program that you are applying for. So as an example, let's say you left chemistry and you went to do banking for 5 years. If you come to apply for a master's in chemistry, you might have been doing banking, but perhaps you have to think about areas in that your sector or in that your experience that can tie into the chemistry area that you want to apply for your master's, so that it doesn't look like there is a complete mismatch. You have been gone for some time. Of course, you can try to justify that you needed to raise money for your master's, but I'm still concerned if you are able to understand, because you are coming in at a higher level than you even left. So this would be a big concern, and you have to be able to convince the selection committee that that time was not just spent without you actively still getting the necessary knowledge that is required for that postgraduate stuff.
Wow, that's beautiful. I hope Mr. Joseph has been able to get the answer to his question, because if I'm the one that has the question, I am perfectly okay with this answer. Thank you so much, Doc. Let's move over to the next question. Dr. Babjide, this is for you. This is from Kelechukwu. He's saying, is SAT or TOEFL an important criteria for applying to scholarship to international organizations and universities?
Did he say SAT?
Yeah, SAT or TOEFL.
Okay, first of all, I need to make some clarifications. SAT is like your WAEC for US. Do you understand? Is he with me? Is he with me?
Yeah, he's here with us.
Okay, so when you're talking about postgraduate studies abroad, you do not actually need SAT because we're talking about postgraduate studies abroad. So you should have already acquired a bachelor's or a higher institutional degree. So SAT is similar or synonymous to your WAEC. It's like a high school degree. So, or exam. So that's what that is. It's different. Now let's come to TOEFL. And I need to separate that from IELTS. So TOEFL is your standardized English test, but it's America-based. You now have your IELTS, which is your standardized English test, but it's British-based. People always ask this question all the time, which one is better? And I used to laugh every time. You can't say which one is better because both are acceptable. Let me tell you this, no American school will reject IELTS from you. Impossible. They can have a preference for TOEFL, obviously, because it's American-based. But if you submit IELTS, they will not reject it. When you go to their webpage, you will see them list these standardized English tests. They will not omit IELTS. So choose the one that you feel comfortable with and do it. However, if you know you are drawn to America, then just do TOEFL. If you know you are drawn to the UK, do IELTS. If you know you are drawn to the world, anywhere, do IELTS. As I used to say all the time, the American English is not English. So do IELTS because you can't speak English better than the English people themselves. Now, so what do you really need? For TOEFL, some universities accept 90. I think the total is 120. But you need to check the website of these schools. For IELTS, some universities take a minimum of 6.5, some will take 7. Whatever it is, you need to check the website, the English language requirements of these schools. Also, this year, many universities in America, they waived their TOEFL. Because of COVID, they waived it. So if some of you had put your ears on the ground, you would have noticed and you would have taken advantage of the situation this year. Many of them also waived GRE. What is GRE? Graduate Record Exam. This one is an entry examination to go into graduate school, and it is standardized. It's for everyone, local and international. So this one is just an entry exam into graduate school. That's what it is. It's different from an English test. So you guys should know the difference between SAT, GRE, TOEFL, IELTS. Know the differences now. So many universities in the US waived the GRE this year. Can you imagine that? So if I were some of you, the moment I noticed this, I would have taken advantage of it and just applied. Because that means the only thing they will judge you by is the totality of your application and your SOP. That's all. That's all they will use. And a couple of my mentees have come to me and we've tried to beef up their SOP. They've submitted. So this year, GRE out of the way. By next year, you know, there's already a vaccine, thanks to Pfizer. By 2021, I sense that the GRE will be back again. So just check the website of the school and you know what to do. Some universities actually exempt Nigerians from writing any English test. A good example is there is this agricultural university, Upper Adams University in the UK. That's the best agric school in the UK. I think next to it will probably be Bangor. Those two are the best. If you want to do anything that has to do with agriculture, those are the best two in the UK. And they exempted Nigerians from writing an English test. So, and in some cases, they accept WAEC, even NECO. All you need to do is to check their English language requirement. Just check there. You will see what the waiver is, the exemptions are, and what the conditions are in general. So that's that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. That's really amazing. Adeboye Ademuyiwa is asking, what is the fate of a graduate with a low second class upper GPE, CGPA in winning scholarship, most especially UK-based scholarship? Is it a disadvantage or limiting in any way? Dr. Casey.
Yeah, I would say that, of course, there are just you have to first understand that scholarship itself is competitive, very, very competitive, right? And so you are not competing with yourself. You are competing with people that are bringing in everything. But at the end of the day, there are many components that make up the selection criteria. And this would vary from scholarship to scholarship. So it's really difficult to always have like one rule that works for all. But having a good first degree is a first good step, because in fact, some scholarship would specify what you should apply, like eligibility. You need to first be eligible before you apply. Very important. So if, for instance, a scholarship says that minimum CGPA to apply 4.0 on a 5, as an example. So if you have below that, you are not eligible. Even if you apply, it will not be considered, because if you even consider the number of people that applied with that criteria above 4.0, they're in their thousands. So how much time do you think they would have to now consider people below? So when the criteria is met, because there are still some scholarships that you have the chance to apply with a 2.2 or even lower, depending on what is the consideration of that scholarship. Then there are other parts that will be more important, right? Because some scholarships could really focus more on volunteering services. Some scholarship could focus more on research experiences. Some scholarship could focus more on certain skills, like some special skills that you could have gained after your first degree. So depending on the criteria of the scholarship, you would have a chance or not. But I would not say that, I mean, at the moment you have graduated, There is really nothing you can do about it. But what you can consider is, I always tell people, if you have a low CGPA, you can focus on writing these international standardized exams, because it's something that you would have compared with everyone. Like when you write a GRE, it's compared with everyone that writes the GRE that particular time. So that's why you have all the percentile. So if you have a poor degree, you cannot change that. You can, at that moment, work on the other aspects that you can improve. And one of them would be, say, as an example, you write GRE and you have a perfect score. Now, applying to a school, the school says, oh, you need a GRE of this. But let's say you are the highest that has applied, you have a 320, 330, but you have a poor first degree. Then you simply just put the person that will select you in the kind of state, right? They would have to figure out, like, something must have gone wrong. This person's first degree is not good, but I was not there. And this exam, I know there is no way the person can play around it. So this could be really out, like, the true test of this person's intelligence and ability to cope, and you might be invited for interviews. So know where your weakness is and build more on the strength, because you cannot change your first degree. And I'm not a big fan of advising someone to go and redo his first degree again because you do not graduate with a very good CGPA. I would rather say that focus on the areas that you can improve. And for me, if you are really focused or if you are really interested in like going for masters or something like this, then please write a GRE. And don't just write it for the sake of it. Like, prove why you did not get a good first degree. Use it as an evidence that this first degree was definitely not something that you could overcome, because there might be many reasons why people don't graduate with a good degree, right? So when you take a GRE, it's a standardized exam, you take a TOEFL or IELTS, then you can use this as your bet. Like, yes, I did not get a first degree because of this and this, there are reasons, but this GRE shows that I'm capable to go through a graduate study.
Wow, thank you so much, Dov. Thank you so much. I got something very important there. Focus on the areas of your strength. So find out the areas that you have strength in, focus on that area, and then you can write a GRE and go for your master's. Thank you so much for that, Dov. Dr. Babjide, the next question is for you. Okay,
Can I quickly add something to what he said?
Please do, sir.
Okay, so for those with a CGPA that is below 2.1, I also noticed that some scholarship sponsors, if they will consider you, they will look at the progression of your CGPA till you graduated with a 2.2. Let me give a good example. MasterCard used to do this. They would look at your first year. Let's assume you were so poor, maybe you start with a 1.22 CGPA first year. They want to see progress. Then second year, your CGPA maybe moved to 2.01. Then your third year, you moved again to like 3.33. And then maybe it's a 4-year course. Your fourth year, your final year, you then graduated with a 3.48. They like this kind of stuff. They will consider because they can see a progression.
Mm-hmm.
If it is the other way around, it will not help you in any way. E.g.,
Exactly.
you started off with a 4.1 first year, and suddenly it started nosediving. That showed like it. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, don't let me go find it.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Ability to demonstrate growth, very important.
Progress. Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. That's exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Babjide, we have another question for you. The question is how easy is it for someone after finishing an undergraduate course to go for a master's in a totally different course, not related to what he studied in his undergraduate days?
Okay. Now, this question, there's a clause to it. So someone like me now, I gradually moved away. I'm now more or less someone in an aspect of geology, and my first degree was in biology. I was studying life. Now I'm studying issues underneath the earth. But I got there gradually. Now, another thing I want you to know is this. If there is a stark change, that is a very drastic one, from your first degree to your next degree, it depends on what you have been doing so far. You must be able to show something that reflects it to some point. Let me give a good example of one. You guys would know of this guy that won Chevron. He's a popular guy. Anyway. Olarinwaju Gideon Olarinwaju. You guys would know him. He's a popular guy. So Gideon Olarinwaju studied biotechnology at Lautech. And after a while, he went into community development. He had a passion for education, sustainable education. And so he created Area I, an NGO that looks into supporting education in rural communities, especially the underserved regions in Nigeria. And I watched him closely do all of this. He would take money from sponsors. He would repair some schools in remote places. And he was just doing this, just for the passion. And he did this for over 3 years, I guess. And later on, when he told me he wanted to apply for Shevin, I said, fantastic, because I think you are the kind of candidate that Shevin seeks. You are. And so when he was applying, he did not apply for biochemistry. You know, he studied biochemistry. He applied for sustainable, I think it's international development and education, I think. What's that name? What's that school again? I think it's University of Sussex in the UK, which I think is the best school for education of any kind, either the policy aspect or whatever. That's the best school to do it in the UK. So he chose that course in education. And I said, fantastic. That's a sharp difference from biochemistry. But that's because he had a lot of community development experience to show. And guess what? He won it. He won the Shevin, and he went to do his master's. He graduated. And as I speak to you, he's doing an aspect of sustainable education at Ph.D. at McGill in Canada. So now he's moved away from biochemistry completely. So moving away is not just you waking up one day and saying, oh, I want to move to engineering. It's not that. There must be something that you must have been doing, that either work experience, maybe you are working in an organization and it's relevant to your proposed master's course. Even if that organization, even if it's not really, let me give a good example, because if I'm explaining this way, it will be too generic. You guys may not understand. So let me use examples. Let's say someone studied agriculture, but has a passion for data. And then he started working with KPMG as a data analyst for KPMG, but he has a degree in agriculture. When he now wants to go for master's, if he applies for a master's in data analytics, they will pick him because of his work experience. His agriculture is already in the past. Do you understand it now?
Yes, sir.
So you just need to find something that will correlate, that would show that relevance, that, okay, this is what I've done. And based on this, I think I'm a good fit for this. Because if you don't put it like that, that you're a good fit for that, they will always question your competence, especially for scholarship. If you have your own money, don't worry, schools need your money. They will give you the admission. Come, whether you pass or you fail, it's none of their business. They will give you admission. But for scholarship, sponsors are always particular about your academic background and how relevant it is to what you're applying for. You must prove that you're a good fit for that program. Even in your SOP, your motivation letter, that's what you write. And I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. Based on all of this, I think I'm competent. I think I have the wherewithal, to take up this course, blah, blah, blah. That's what you write. So what will you write if you don't have a background to study that? You'll be blank. So I think you just need to check your experience and pull those areas of strength and focus on that and use it as the platform to apply for what you're applying for.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, sir. You really pointed about finding a transition, using your areas of strength to find a transition from where you are to where you are going to. That's very beautiful. Exactly. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Casey, over to you. We have another question here from Dalu. Dalu is asking, please, are there avenues for scholarship applicants to brush themselves up in research skills? Personally, I find research skills, example, quantitative analysis, and Achilles heel on my part. What are there avenues for us to learn them?
So before I even pick up this question, Chubuzo, also remember to check on YouTube. right? To pull out questions from them. I don't know if you're already doing that.
Yes, Doc, I'm already on YouTube.
Okay, very good. So I will just give an example. I used to have a professor, and he had one very common comment that he makes. He always say something like, use the environment that you are to create the necessary skills that you need for the environment you want to be in. Okay? So use where you are. What skills are you looking for? If you say you're looking for a specific research skill, the next question is, where can you find it? And sometimes it's not always obvious. So as an example, your internship, your ITs that somehow it's compulsory that you have to do it, is quite a good skill. I mean, it depends really on how you decide to package it. The lab experiences that you are to do, let me say as an example for chemists, the different lab works that you have to do, that is an experience, is really a matter of how you package it. So what I would say here is that in the event that you do not have a chance at all to get certain specific skills, try to explore the option of, especially in this current dispensation, right, of whether such skills or whether such training on how to utilize that skill exists online that you can take the training. Okay. Understand also that nobody would expect you to come into a lab and they say, oh, you said you're a chemist, now go and synthesize this. You can burn the lab. So they have to tell you how to use it, right? They wouldn't take that risk. They would have to tell you how to use it. And I remember most times, like my first actual experience on my own to do my own research was at the level of my master's internship. And I remember the PhD student there would stand behind me, and I'm so afraid that I would do something wrong. She said, no, don't worry, I'm here just to watch and see how your mind works. But she was always there because it's a big risk leaving me when you know that I probably don't know what to do. And so what I'm trying to say, I understand the chemistry. I know that you should not put this and this together and that you should take care of this. So those bases are important even before you start doing anything. You know what to expect. You have not had that experience, but you need the theoretical background. And you can start learning the practical background on like visually, especially, I mean, think about how are studies being done now in most places. They are done visually, even though even research works can also be done that way. You are not there in person, but someone is there and you're really watching how they are doing it and taking care that if you are there or if you are put in such a situation in the future, you can use the same knowledge, right, and transfer it into practice. So I would say that as much as possible, see every constraint or every hindrance or every obstacle as opportunity for you to learn. So don't come in and say that I do not have any research experience in this. Okay, so what do you have? So why are you applying? So what is it that you are bringing? What value are you bringing into that program that you are applying for if you do not have that research experience that they need? So if they really need the experience and it's a kind of a prerequisite, then also consider whether you are eligible or not, right? Again, I always advise that if you are applying for, say you want to apply to 3 programs, 3 scholarships in total, I would prioritize them based on my eligibility. If I have enough time, maybe that particular program that I still have the time, I've given my best to the first 2 that I have the best opportunity or the best chance of success, I would apply for the 3rd one, like, okay, I have nothing to lose. But even before doing that, I want to first contact them and understand from my experience if they consider that to be enough for me to apply, just that I do not waste the time. So just in a nutshell, the particular experience that you need, if it is something that you need to be in a lab and you cannot find that kind of lab, either as a volunteer, not coming there because you want to be paid, but because you want to learn, and really clearly showing them that I'm really here to learn. I want to learn. I'm not asking for any payment. I would take care of myself. Just give me the opportunity to learn. So really coming in as a volunteer would help. Then also, it's unfortunate, I can imagine, because, I mean, if you think about certain specific skills, you do not get enough of such kind of facilities that can allow you to get such skills. So please try to see what is available online. Okay. So don't
Oh,
see anything as an obstacle. That's just what I want you to understand.
okay, thank you so much for that answer, Doc. Thank you so much. I hope Bolahan has been able to get the answer that she's looking for. So, Doc, we have a question from YouTube. Dr. Babjide, this is for you. Cindy Oko from YouTube is asking, how can one improve the search for scholarships and fellowships for non-STEM applicants? For example, Ph.D. finance.
Okay, so I have noticed I've noticed that those who are not in STEM tend to feel like they are at a disadvantage. While that is not entirely wrong or untrue, I say that there are opportunities for them as well. There are opportunities. So one way for the young lady to be able to search is to join scholarship pages online. If you're on Facebook, for example, I used to have a list of 20 of them. Myself, I follow them. I have a Telegram group where I share this information. The moment I receive something and I think the members of my group will find it important or useful, I just copy everything, I paste it there. One is your popular one, number one in Nigeria, Opportunity Desk. Opportunity Desk. That's your popular one, your famous one. After that, there's another one called Opportunity Venue. These are scholarship pages. Now, Opportunity Desk covers a lot of things, but they also reveal scholarships too. You also have Scholarships Corner. You have loads and loads of them. There are a lot of them. You just need to follow them. Now, when you follow these pages, what would happen is that on your timeline, you will just be getting the information. The moment something new comes up, you get it like a post. Each time you come online, you get it. And the moment you see it, you read through, you would know whether it's something you can do or not. So that's one way to track scholarship opportunities online, not just for finance, but for any field at all. Then the person is saying in finance, I think there are lots of opportunities for finance. The only thing is that, as I used to say, if you're applying for a scholarship, you cannot be choosy. Some people are particular about one thing. I used to say, have 3 options. Have option 1, option 2, option 3 to expand your chances, because it's not you that will pay. If it's you that will pay now, you can say, hell no, it must be this. I want this and nothing more. Then go and pay. Pay and go to the school of your choice, and they will give you, jeje, no stress. However, if you are not going to pay, you can't afford to be so choosy. You can't afford to be so choosy. You need to have at least 3 options, so that if option 1 doesn't work out, you have option 2. If option 2 doesn't work out, you have option 3. But be mindful, be sure that all 3 options are options that you love, you cherish, you adore, you worship. If it is option 3 that comes, then you accept it and you'll be happy. Someone like me, I'm speaking from experience. I had, first option was public health. Second option was molecular biology. Third option was environmental science. Today, I'm an environmental scientist and I am happy. I should now sit down and be saying, public health, it must be public health. I will still be there. I will still be there. So you need to understand that you need to expand your opportunities, your options. The person who is interested in finance, I wish I know the aspect of finance she's interested in, because the Commonwealth even supports finance. It's just that when you go through the courses, for like the Commonwealth share, there is a list that they have. You might see the courses they have and you might go, I don't want it. That's the problem. It's not that they don't support finance, but maybe the aspect you want they don't support. So perhaps pick up 3, just have 3. Go to the drawing board and try to go for 3 options, and eventually you would see that it will ease the way you attract. Yes, you have ease in getting these opportunities, and you see that you'll be able to then apply for more. It will not be so restricted because that restriction was put there by you, actually. So that's what that's my advice.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We are our own limitations. Have
Exactly.
3 options.
Let me even just add up. If you don't mind, let me just add up to what.
Of course, Doc. Of course.
What you just said. I completely agree with him 100%. You see, scholarship is something that someone or some people, not you, are taking care of, right? And they set their criteria. It's their decision who they give and who they don't give. And so you are coming in literally, like you're coming in, like applying for them to decide whether they give you or not. If you come in with a lot of choice, right, it just puts you off because you do not even, you might not really see the opportunities. I was doing the same, but I mean, at some point I felt that if you even gave me a scholarship in Russia, in Kazakhstan, in anywhere, Serbia, I would go. Because someone is paying me to study and I want to study.
I tried Thailand.
even if you don't understand how difficult the weather is, this was never a criteria. I have some people now coming to tell me, like, I want to apply to Canada. I said, why Canada? Oh, because I like the environment. Really? That is why you're applying? You have to be open-minded. If you have the money, I always say that if you have the money, you can school anywhere as long as you can afford it. You can go to Oxford if you meet their criteria. Yes, you would pay £100,000 or thereabout. If you can afford it, why not? They would give you the admission. You are paying for it. You are bringing in a lot of money to the country. But if it's scholarship, someone else needs to fund you, then they are quite selective. And you can also like reduce the options by selecting also yourself. So get these options, apply. Of course, also be interested in what you're applying for. This is important because it's just one day and you got the admission or you get the scholarship. You would have 1 year or 2 years to go through that program. And you don't want to go through it and come back worse than what you went in with. So understand why you are making certain selections, but don't be too picky like, okay, I want to study economics. It has to be microfinance, or I don't want macroeconomics. It has to be that microeconomics, or I want this particular form of finance. It has to be this area or this part of chemistry. Some people come and tell me, I want organic chemistry. I said, why? Because I love organic chemistry. Why don't you do analytical? No, it has to be organic. Do you really know how you can apply the organic chemistry at the end if you should go for a PhD? So most times we just narrow ourselves because we don't even understand what is possible in that area that they're offering. And you find a lot of this in Erasmus Mundus. So if someone come and tell me that I do not find any program on Erasmus Mundus list, I am shocked. To be sincere, there is nothing that I've not found on Erasmus Mundus list of programs from end to end. But you need to go in details to find how it connects to what you want to do. You don't go there and see something like MSc in economics. It's mostly applied. Most times it's applied. And you need to think of where can I apply economics? And you say, oh, this is a link that I can make. Oh, then you go into the course curriculum and you see that, actually, this fits into what I'm looking for, but you don't know that that is what you're looking for. So be open-minded when you apply for scholarship. If you can fund your studies, please, you can go and do an MSc in anything you want, as long as you can pay for it.
Wow, thank you so much, Doc. Thank you so much, Doc. Be open-minded, okay? Be open-minded. Dr. Casey, there is a question from Adeboye Ademuyiwa. He or she's asking, what are the necessary credentials and qualities needed to win a scholarship?
I know we call this as Ask Me Anything. I don't know if we're supposed to say this.
Yes. We're supposed
because
to
basically, I think we are going to end up actually
answering, yeah. We have
in the summit if we answer Chuzo maybe would have said, ask me anything to the extent of
Okay, we have like less than 10 minutes to actually end the section. So we'll just
okay, so
take a few questions.
It looks like I cannot run away from
the rest of the questions, we'll take them in during the summit. We'll have sections for questions.
Otherwise, we spend hours and hours, and that's why we splitted this to 10 speakers, not just 2 of us, right?
Yes, Doc. Yes, Doc.
Okay, so please take the question again.
Adeboye is asking, what are the necessary credentials and qualities needed to win a scholarship?
I would say the first is to be persistent. Yeah, be persistent, okay? Just have it at the back of your mind that it's not you walking through a door and getting what you want, of course, but really be persistent, that as long as you don't give up, which is the criteria I've had in one slide, like how do you win scholarships? Don't give up. Of course, don't give up doesn't mean you keep doing the same thing like you did last year. You cannot keep doing the same thing, the same method, and expect a different result. Keep asking yourself, what could I do different? How could I improve on what I did the previous year? So be persistent, very, very important. Persistence also comes in with being patient, right? Knowing that this would happen at some point, but also asking yourself, if there is something that I'm not doing correctly, how will I know? I talk to people. I go to people that have gotten the same scholarship. I try to learn from their experience. What did they do that I did not take care of? It's also very important that you take care of instructions, okay? Take care of instructions. I've noticed that most times people do not realize how difficult applying to a scholarship is. That's why somebody will say, I'm applying to 10 different scholarships. And I'm shocked, like, do you have so much time that you apply to 10 different scholarships? Are you sure you are giving the best to each of them? Like the very best? Because writing an SOP is not just sitting down on your desk, drafting out something and looking for somebody to review it for you. That doesn't really help you. So you really need to consider that it takes time. Give in your quality time before asking for other people to help you. So pay attention to details. Is that the instructions, read it the first day and go back home. Do something else, come back the same day and read it again, and then read it the third time. Make sure you understand clearly what you are supposed to do. Because they always say the devil is in the details. And most, in many instances, it's true. Some people lose the scholarship because they don't follow instruction. Sometimes you just need to tick something and you don't tick that, and it changes all because you probably will not even get to pre-selected. So pay attention to details. And of course, it's important that I always say it over and over. If you're applying to a particular scholarship, a particular program, please let your CV speak the same language of what you're applying for. Don't just have one CV that you created 6 months ago and you just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. And even sometimes you see a CV with objective that is more of an objective of a job that you applied and is finding itself into a scholarship application. You can't make such, take such for granted. Your CV is the summary of who you are. That is what they see. That is it's a summary basically of who you are. So it needs to speak the language of the program you're applying. And it needs to speak in the same language as your SOP or your motivation. They have to be aligned. And this even needs to go one step more to speak in the same language with your recommendation. So somebody reading about you would say that, oh, I read the CV. Now I see the motivation and it ties into the CV. Now I've received a recommendation about this person and it just justifies all those skills that this person has demonstrated. I've seen on the CV, I've seen it on the motivation letter. So if you think about putting all these complex parts together, takes more than just sitting down in 1 week or few days and making up an application. So don't leave things to chance that you have the power to control. So don't leave it to chance. Don't say that, oh, I've done it, maybe they will be sleepy and then somebody just considers me. Don't put yourself under that point of being lucky. So make sure you do your job and you do it very well. And if you do not get it, do not get frustrated. Take your experience as a lesson and even double up on what you did on your application the next time. Because more competitive. The more you, in fact, the next year might be even more competitive than the year you were. So don't be surprised that the first year you apply, you got shortlisted, and you took the same application, say, oh, I was shortlisted, so I would put the same application now and it will increase my chance. The second time, you might not even get shortlisted because the competition even gets more tough. So please take care of details. Instructions are very important. If there is an instruction you do not understand, contact the coordinators. I always tell people, if it's possible, if you can call them, if you can afford it, call. This is make sure that you understand what you're applying for, not wait until you are told, oh, you are not selected because you did not do this, this, and this, which is something that is within your power.
Wow, thank you so much, Doc.
And there are many more, but you have to come to the summit next week.
Yes, yes, very important. So for you to hear more about what you need to apply for scholarships, come to Global Scholarship Summit 2020. Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you so much, Dr. Babjide. Before we go, please, I'm going to be sharing the link to enroll for the summit on the chat box. And before that, Dr. Babjide, do you have your last words for us? What are your last words for people that are going to attend this summit before we close this section?
Okay, yes. So first of all, my question is, have you applied? Have you registered? If you haven't and you are listening to me, you are wrong. Very wrong. You need to, I don't think it will take you less than 2 minutes.
Less than 1 minute. Very, very fast registration.
Yeah, very,
37 seconds.
Seconds.
37 seconds.
And now, just don't apply, because I've seen this happen where people will apply and will not show up. So don't be amongst those who just apply because everyone is applying. It looks like an interesting stuff, then you apply. Then suddenly you don't show up. So please take notes. It starts on Wednesday, on the 25th. It ends on Sunday, on the 29th. Each day you have 2 sessions, afternoon and evening. Afternoon is 12 to 1 West African time. Evening is 6 to 7 West African time. To know the topic of discussion and who will be speaking, go to that web link and then you would see them there. You would see the person who is speaking first. You would see the title so that you can come prepared. You can come prepared with questions. You can come prepared, with expectations. At least you know what to expect or gain from them. So that's my advice. My advice is prepare, take advantage of this. It's free. You guys know me. I used to do paid things, but this one is free. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. I do not think there is a platform you would get where you have all these quality people come to speak to you free of charge at the same time. Mind you, these guys are spread across the world, different time zones. If you know how we are to beg and summon them, Daejo, please, Dalu, and what other language, Jo, everything to beg them and be agreed for free. So I want you guys to see this as important. They consider you guys as important, and that's why they chose to do this. So you guys should come. I'm glad that we have over 2,000 registered participants already. That's amazing for a summit that is the first, like it's the first time we are doing this. And so I'm glad by the public acceptance. But please, you guys should follow it through to attendance. It's not just to register now. Follow it through to attendance. We want to see huge turn up where when the facilitators come online, they just see, lots of people. Zoom is full, 100 people on Zoom. The rest, they're already on YouTube, full to capacity. That will be inspiring to even the speaker, and he will give you more, he will discharge more. So please, you guys should do well to attend. And I can promise you that it will be life-changing. You know, I've been using that word, that term, life-changing. It truly be life-changing. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Dr. Casey.
Yeah, so I mean, I completely agree with what Babjide has said. It's, if you just look at the caliber of speakers that we had to put together, or we luckily put together, considering their different time zones, then you would also kind of assess what amount of value that they're about to bring to the table. So you can't afford to miss this summit. You can't afford not to be there. If you have the last data now, you better start saving it to make sure that you attend live. There's a difference between attending live and watching it later on. So you can't afford to miss, because at the end of the day, we have sold the idea that this is necessary for you. And so if these guys come on and they do not get a full house, they are really literally foregoing other functions to do this. So this is going to be like the value that they get for what they have decided to forego. So you can't afford not to be there to like encourage them and justify why they should do this for you. And it's not paid, which is also quite tough to manage. But you also imagine that there's a lot of work going on in the background. A lot of work has been done to put up this summit. You can check the website, check the quality of the work that has been done there. You will see that this was not something that was done in a nutshell or in a snap of a finger. It's a lot of effort that we have put behind the stage to make this happen. So make sure you are there. Don't also kind of choose, I want to attend Casey and Babjide because I know these faces. No, each of these people have specific things to offer. We are all unique. We all have what we are good at. We have what we are learning on, and that's why we are always work in progress. So make sure you are there. Make sure that you share as far as possible. We want as many people to come, because the expectations, our wish is that at the end of the day, as Babjide said, this will be a life-changing opportunity for you. So make sure you do everything within your power not to miss this summit. It starts from the 20th to the 29th of November. So from next week, Wednesday.
Thank you so much, Doc. It's 4 days to go to the Global Scholarship Summit 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are going to be ending tonight's section. If you want to get an amazing time with all the speakers, just make a date with us. The date for this event is November 25th to 29th, 2020. Do not miss this section. It's going to be happening on Zoom, and also we're going to be sharing on YouTube and on Facebook. For everyone that has already registered, you will be receiving an email from us on how to join the sections. It promises to be amazing. Just like Doc said, this is a platform for you to get to your next level in your academics, in your career. So don't miss this, and don't miss any section at all. All the speakers has been called to be, they are called together to give you a wholesome amount of information and impartation that will take you to your next level. So please do not miss this. Thank you so much, Doc. Please help me and thank Dr. Kenny and Dr. Babjide for this section. Thank you so much for coming around today. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for answering all of our questions. Please help me clap for them and help me appreciate them. Thank you so much. It's really amazing having two of you, two of the best here. Thank you so much, sirs. It's really amazing to have you. So ladies and gentlemen, without further wasting of our time, this is where we are going to end the section. Remember, till we all win, we are all a work in progress. Thank you so much for being around. I'll see you all in the summit in 4 days' time. Goodbye and have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. See you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.